introduce yourself and tell us why you would be the best mayor for the city of Seattle and all its residents.
Good evening, Seattle. My name is Nikkita Oliver, lawyer, educator, organizer. I'm excited to be here with y'all because we're living in a time of great political apathy, but what I see in Seattle is an inspiration and desire to be the progressive city that we talk about. We have the opportunity to be that, to truly be about affordable housing, accessibility, education, and opportunity for all, to take our police force from not simply being under consent decree, but being transformed in a way that we can model for other cities and transforming our criminal legal system. And I have a vision for that. I come from a different community, I come from a different background, and I think that's what our city needs, so I'm asking you to trust and believe that I can bring that vision with the People's Party to the forefront of our city. Speak back.
In his recent book, The New Urban Crisis, scholar Richard Florida identifies Seattle as one of the world's leading technology and knowledge hubs. But he argues that Seattle, like the other superstar cities, is experiencing a crisis of growing inequality and segregation, rising housing prices, displacement of the poor, as well as the middle class. He makes the case that it is mayors and local officials who must now take the lead on issues of transit, affordable housing, and poverty. How do you plan to lead Seattle through this crisis and ensure a sustainable, livable city that accommodates and values all of its residents?
So what we're talking about are the most impacted in our city, the vulnerable, the marginalized, people of color, and the cash poor. Every great change that has occurred in this city in the past 8 years has been because those communities have risen up and used their voice to ask for that change, shut down chambers, gone in front of people's houses, into their offices until we got the change that we most needed. It has not been because politicians have moved for it. CALA, MHA, 15, the No New Youth Jail campaign, Block the Bunker, even the consent decree have all been because of the movement of the people. What we need are leaders that will listen to the needs of the most impacted in our communities and actually act on those solutions that are being brought forward by them. We need a progressive tax. We need the city to leverage its bonding capacity to build affordable housing now. And these are all solutions that have already been brought forward to us by the most impacted in our city. If Seattle is going to be a place that closes the opportunity gap, it'll be because we receive the solutions of the most impacted and vulnerable in our city as the solution that needs to be actuated. Thank you.
Here's the third question. Homelessness is a multifaceted problem with different strategies required for assisting different populations. I'd like you to name 3 approaches you would take to housing people and families experiencing homelessness.
First of all, encampments are a mitigation to dealing with issues of homelessness in our city. One thing we have to stop doing is sweeps. What sweeps do is they disrupt the stability of people who are already in an unstable position. They lose everything they have, including their paperwork. We need low barrier options. People are dealing with addiction, they're traumatized, and in order for them to get stable to deal with their addiction, they need low barrier option places to live. We need 24/7 storage and transitional housing that allows people to get on their feet. We also need to leverage our city's bonding capacity to immediately build housing that is appropriate for families and individuals. And then we need a voucher system or some other system to prevent people from losing their homes. The number of times that we've leveraged property taxes to deal with issues in our city has put a lot of people out of their homes, people who are just a paycheck away from being homeless. And so we need to figure out a way how we keep people in their homes as we're trying to build more housing to get people into homes.
The 46th Legislative District includes North Seattle, Lake Forest Park, and Kenmore. How can the Seattle mayor best collaborate with its neighbors to tackle regional issues such as housing and transportation, preserving our environment, tackling the issue of climate change, and the opioid epidemic? These are problems that know no city boundaries.
Just last week, I met with a group of homeowners. And what I was told was that when the neighborhood councils were taken out of neighborhoods, people felt like they stopped having a direct line of communication to the people who had the decision-making power. And I think one thing we need to do is figure out how do we allow neighborhoods to be self-determined and self-empowered about the sort of things that are most needed in their spaces. I know up here, people are asking for sidewalks. They're asking for changes in transit. And I think the answers to those questions actually exist within the communities. And we have to be willing to come sit with you all and hear from you and receive from you what the solutions are that make your community the sort of place that you want to be in, that you feel safe living in, but that you also feel like you can thrive in. And so I believe it's finding ways that I, as an organizer, I've been spending my entire career doing, is getting with folks, developing or building solutions, and then figuring out how those of us who have bureaucratic power actually help you finance those solutions and allow you to have the decision-making power about what your neighborhood looks like.
You each have a card, and we need for you to show the audience your response, and I will start with the first question. Do you support the Hala Grand Bargain? Number 2, many U.S. cities charge a 5% one-time developer impact fee to pay for infrastructure so that growth pays for growth. Would you support a 5% developer impact fee for Seattle, yes or no? Seattle lacks 11,000 block fronts of sidewalks, 2/3 of them north of 85th Street, dating to when the area was annexed in 1954. Are you willing to make accessible, safe sidewalks for all a higher priority? Yes or no? Would you support a zoning change to allow a limited number of duplexes and triplexes in single-family neighborhoods? Yes or no? Seattle's tree canopy is quickly shrinking. Would you support restoring a tree canopy goal in the Comprehensive Plan 2035? Do you support an income tax for the city of Seattle as a test case for the state Supreme Court? Would you lobby for changing the state law that currently prohibits rent stabilization? The North Police Precinct serves 40% of Seattle's residents. Do you think the people of Seattle would be better served by 2 smaller precincts instead of the bunker? Would you support a city council resolution to move towards 0 youth detention? Do you support the current city policy regarding the sweeps of homeless encampments? Only Democrats are eligible to be endorsed by the 46th. Do you consider yourself a Democrat?